IVM.
Hi Josh.
Hi Ayushi, how are you?
This is very upbeat and diametrically opposite to how we've been feeling.
That's fine. We're good girls, so we're just going to put on a smile and just go out into the world as if nothing is wrong. Hey, na, Ayushi?
Of course, just our common phrase of the last couple of episodes has been bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
That's
so
us.
that's what we are.
JK. Welcome back to Agla Station Adulthood.
Episode 44.
Yes, we don't have a title for it yet.
No, we just have lots of thoughts, anger, rage. I had to be calmed down.
Yeah.
I was very riled up over the last couple of days.
Absolutely, understandably so. Ayushi, do you want to give our listeners a small introduction to what we're going to touch upon today?
Yes, I know that usually you guys are treated to a walk down an avenue that is Tash and my brain and wherever it goes. However, I think this time, wow, that was all garbage that I just said. Ignore that. I think I don't have a topic. I don't have one way of describing what I want to say. It's more just my brain is all over the place because I'm so angry. And that anger is currently, it's many times it's other things, but currently it's coming from the fact that we're seeing this we're seeing this very open and vile rise of threats and harassment and abuse that's being flung around online, on whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in people's DMs, whether it's on public statements that they seem to be making, basically social media, and how people seem to be speaking and threatening each other with a kind of impunity that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
It was, and I'm not justifying this, but hear me out when I say it. It's like a lot of times people thought things, but they kept it to themselves, or you just, I don't know, you made a stupid comment to your friend or your peer group and that was where it ended. I feel like now suddenly with this accessibility that we seem to have, not just to like celebrities or public figures, but with each other, just human being to fucking human being.
Yeah.
It seems like we just have no more filter or barrier in terms of what we're willing to say and how we're willing to say it.
Yeah.
And I am outraged. I'm obviously this is coming from that, the Shubham Mishra, I don't even want to say his name because I'm so mad, but because of that incident that came up about him threatening threatening a comedian for a bit that she did like a really long time ago that seems to have surfaced right now, which by the way was not even in an iota of being in the realm of offensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, that's what we wanted to talk about. We don't want this to be a very long episode. I don't have any research. I don't have any statistics for you. I don't have any lessons.
But it's gotten to a point where it's actually so bad now that I don't think anybody can ignore this kind of bullying and this kind of harassment for a moment longer. I think it's... Yeah. This is the... this shouldn't be a tipping point, and I also feel like in our country, every few years, there's something which becomes the tipping point. And then again, we forget. This
won't be the tipping point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
People like this moron, this obscene piece of shit, like they exist. And I know that usually on the show, we have this, not a moral high ground, but I think sometimes we try to take like the higher road in terms of look, positive feedback and criticism, and it's all fair and freedom of speech. Like we've always talked about freedom of speech. But I think, that, like, I'm sorry to our sound editor who's going to have to edit this episode heavily. I do apologize for that. But if this is what freedom of speech is, then people, I don't know, like, is it fair for me to say that you don't deserve it?
But I also just want to like understand how have we reached this point as a society? And it's so
No, it's not
rampant.
that we've reached this point. Tash, we've always been here. That's what I'm saying. The difference is that now people seem to think that it's okay to just say it out loud, and the accessibility that we have either given or consented to through social media seems to have taken a whole other like life form now. It's this online bullying and hiding behind a screen and telling someone such vile and horrendous things. By the way, you are the, oh, I can't. I should have written down more notes before this episode
But
started.
honestly, I have to say that that morning when the incident kind of blew up on the internet, and understandably everybody was speaking about it, tweeting about it, gramming about it after Swara Bhaskar put out all those stories, which was great. I think it was good. She brought a lot of light on the situation. It really picked up traction. And then it's that which is, by the end of the day, this guy has been booked under XYZ Act, and he has been held accountable in some way or the other. Abhi kuch final nahi hua. We don't know what's going to happen also. But
But that was the first time I've ever seen such
exactly,
a
action
quick,
happened quickly, Ayushi. I was
I mean,
shook. I was so happy, but I was also like, damn, is this the first time we've actually seen something been followed through? And just a shout out, Ayushi, that day I had also like shared on my stories and all.
I think we both did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course everyone did. But there's this guy who is a cyber cop, and he's on Instagram, and I tagged him, and like he didn't need to reshare my story or whatever, but he did. He like acknowledged it. He shared it. So I mean, I that made me believe that there are good people working in the various law enforcement departments, trying, who are not exactly all turning a blind eye. I mean, of course, for now decades we've had a law enforcement system which may not be the most efficient or the most just, and most
I mean,
alert or attentive.
we're saying this during the same week in which we've just seen like two different police encounters apparently happen for criminals. I understand the kind of positive spin or the the light that you're trying to show in what is a dark situation. But I'm not feeling that.
No,
I'm
of
not
course,
feeling that at all.
I understand what
I have no desire to pat someone on the back
for doing their
for
job.
doing something that they should be doing in the first place. And if not just doing what they're supposed to be doing in the first place, like I get that, like telling someone do your job is sometimes a very condescending thing to say. I accept that. I'm not talking about just doing your job and apprehending the criminal or apprehending the people to stop this and making an example out of them. The point is that we've let a mentality go on for far too long.
Agreed. There needs
And we've
to be,
perpetuated it.
yeah.
And it's not just like you and when I say we, I'm talking about the fact that our political systems, our institutions, our law enforcement, we've always perpetuated this idea that women, the LGBTQI community, all of these like quote unquote minorities or affected people, like groups of people, are either like it's to own them, it's to threaten them, and that it's fine to speak to them this way. And I'm not saying that men don't face bullying and harassment. Of course they do. But what I'm trying to say is that if a person, if a human being can go out there and say this stuff, then there's not only just something sick with him, there's something sick about the society and the environment in which this person grew up.
Yeah, of course, because there's also like there were so many comments in support and stuff also, right? And on every
Which was
corner,
even more
it's so
baffling.
disturbing. Exactly. That's
And
yeah.
And what happens at the end of the day? What happens that the person who is the victim has to turn around and apologize because they're scared? And today, then you're having all these kind of different social media personalities who may have stood up and voiced their opinion on certain things have to like go dark and turn off their this and go quiet for a while because they're receiving death threats and their family is receiving threats. And I mean, this recently happened. I think today or a day ago. I think that actress Riya Chakraborty, maybe she was close to Sushant Singh Rajput, and she is receiving like these death threats and rape threats, and people telling her that she should commit suicide instead, and she is the reason why why Sushant may have ended his life the way he did. I mean, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, who gives anyone the right to say things like that?
No, for sure. I agree with you. The internet is a horrible place. And having some kind of experience with this kind of negative
Yes,
backlash,
yes.
I
Which is why
can
you're handling this better than I am.
firsthand tell our listeners how it breaks you down as a person. It just fucks with your head so much. And honest people don't deserve it, yaar. especially people who have already apologized. But it's not even like, okay, say forget what you did is right or wrong, we put that aside. Even if what you've done is wrong, even if you've said something really wrong out there, if a person has put out an apology, they do not warrant any like this kind of, oh my god,
I
I
don't think
can't
anyone, yeah,
I'm getting
this,
triggered now because I've received this. You should kill yourself, and I hope you die in the most. So I'm just going to open up about this and talk about it today, Ayushi, just for like 2 minutes. But a
of
year ago,
course.
I got into a really like a bad incident which was out of my control, but also I guess my fault at the same time. I don't know. I was in an auto, and a stray dog jumped into my auto, and I did not shoo it out, and it traveled with me for 30 minutes, and when I got off it also jumped out and ran off. Now, I did not know that displacing an animal is illegal. I don't know, I don't have much knowledge about stray dogs. I'm sorry about that. And I apologize that time also. But I put up a picture, and I may have like commented insensitively because I did not know. And I admit it now, I learned a lot through that experience. But the backlash I have received, Ayushi, I can't explain to you.
No, you don't have to explain it to me. I was right there with you, and it was traumatizing to see
And
you
these
go
are
through
also
that.
now educated people. So
Oh, that was even worse. That was even worse.
yeah, like educated, some public figures, one woman in particular who is a well-known actor, and I will never name her, but she got hold of my number from somewhere, and she called me, Aishi, and she just yelled at me. This
I
woman was
don't
just,
blame
what
you.
kind of an idiot are you? What kind of stupid, you deserve to. I can't even, like, I don't want to go down that road again, but I was shook. Now imagine she's at least somebody from the industry who could potentially be a colleague. She has gotten my number from a common friend or whatever and called me and started shouting at me. Also wrong. Now, random people on the internet are getting hold of phone numbers and addresses.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it doesn't it really really messes a person up. And I urge everybody listening to this to just, we need to start talking about how we treat people online.
No, you're still being nice about it. You're still being kind. I started this recording before we even clicked record. What did I tell you? If you are the kind of person that thinks that speaking out this way or speaking like this is your right, or it's your right of freedom to say
That's
what you
not freedom
want
of
or
speech.
vocate yourself,
Yeah, I don't
no,
agree.
you
Yeah.
can off. Like
Yeah.
I have no desire to correct your your mind. I have no desire to try to make you better. I have none of that. All I have is white hot rage and an absolutely like an intolerance policy for this now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't.
If you can
Yeah.
wish that someone else should die, do you like when things like this are said, I just wonder like what went wrong in your head, in your mind, to think that it was okay ever, that it was ever okay to write that down and then to click send and to send it to someone? I mean, I think the problem with social media is that it's so faceless, right? That we don't realize that there is a person at the other end of the screen.
Yeah.
There's a human
Yeah.
effing being.
Every bit as human as you are, whoever you are writing these words, which you, and also I want to say this because I've been on both sides. I've been on the side of just being a person commenting on a public figure, being like, haha, they must be like this, they must be like that, they are like this, they are like that. Okay. I've been that person also. And I've also been this person at the receiving end. Oh, she's like this, she's like that, she did this for this, she did this for that. It's, you never know. And this kind of judgment and opinion that we put onto people, I was about to say, lol.
Brevity.
At least I laughed, Aishi. I didn't want to admit it, but I'm crying right now.
I could hear it. Don't worry. I know when you're crying. No, I mean, look, this isn't an episode where I have, I feel bad because I don't like doing these kind of ones. I don't like when there's no point or there's no takeaway or there's no lesson or there's nothing to
No,
learn or facts. I don't like it. You know that. I hate doing that.
Ayushi, though, I think there is an adulthood takeaway in this because as we now travel through these adult years, we understand more and more that it's not black and white. Every day, more and more gray area is opening up. And this
But
is,
I didn't think that this is something that as this lesson had to be told to anyone.
of course, not Ayushi, but the internet is free, it's for everyone. And
But that,
access to education and good parenting is highly limited in our country.
and world over. I mean, I don't know.
I'm
You're not
only,
on Twitter, but
yeah,
over the
of course.
last couple of days, this is obviously another public figure. It sounds like I'm like talking and saving celebrities' asses. That's absolutely not the case. It's just humans again. But this Chrissy Teigen, she's being like properly vilified and bullied and like fucking harassed because people seem to think some conspiracy theory where she's a person who deals in children and eats them and is a cannibal and like
No way. That's really
yeah,
fucking
and that she
far-fetched.
yeah, and that she harvests children for growth hormones and like it's the most absurd thing. Oh, and that she's a pedophile and that she's on the call logs and the plane logs of Jeffrey Epstein and she's actually a huge pedophile and she runs a pedophile ring and she's in the high echelon of Hollywood's like cult and shit like that.
I'm sorry, it's
And they
echelon.
okay, my bad, sorry, echelon of Hollywood's elite that like does all this like it's insane. And now it's come to the point where she can't ignore it anymore, where she's like, it's literally every single day. Like I'm going through mental.
Man.
Imagine being told and like comments on the pictures of your children being like, did you sell them? Did
That's
you
so
buy
messed
them?
up. That's so messed up.
Like we know that you, my God, your kids need to be rescued. Somebody should report like the child services on her and stuff like that. But I mean, it's beyond absurd. But what I'm trying to say is it's not, I don't think it's just an India problem. Of course, we are seeing it more locally and I
Yeah,
want to address it locally, quite
that's what,
frankly.
yeah.
But it's, I don't know. I think I just want to go back to that thing of you saying that there's an adult takeaway from here. And my response was, I didn't realize that this was an adulthood lesson that had to be given to someone.
Because Ayushi, not everybody gets, okay, see.
No, and you said this whole lack of, like education and socialization.
I was just simply talking about the gray areas that come up. Because even these people, what has happened in their life that has gotten them to this point where they suddenly feel like, not suddenly, maybe, they have seen it,
I remember
obviously.
my point.
Okay, say. I'll mind the normal.
So,
Yeah.
no, and it goes off this gray area thing, right? Of like, oh, the more you grow up, you realize that not everything's black and white. There's not right and wrong, but there are some. You learn these things that weren't spelled out. They're a bit more nuanced, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, and I've spoken about this in some earlier episode. I can't remember when I was connecting it. It was because we have taken a sort of oath, though. It's an unwritten one, and there is a tacit approval and consent that was given when you decided to participate in general society. Like you're not an
In
outcast.
the civic
Yes,
episode, yeah.
I spoke about it in the civic episode, and I think I want to bring that up here again. Is to say that you know you're not an outlaw, you're not an outcast, you're not living under like some sort of rock somewhere where you can't be found and you don't partake in the benefits of society and like the social structures, the benefits of those, right? What I'm trying to say is that when we all participate in society, we agreed on some basic fucking ground rules. Like you don't hurt people willfully and you do not like murder them. I'm not even talking about stealing. I'm not even talking about stealing or about like property, or I'm not even talking about the material. I'm talking about human to human, flesh to flesh.
Yeah.
There was an agreement that we all took when we decided to be a part of like society, which was you don't willfully harm or kill anyone.
I'm with you, Ayushi. But
And this isn't even but I understand the socio-economic reasons for why people turn out the way they do. I do. And I'm not saying that you're talking down to me. I'm saying I've studied it. I've read about it. We see it in front of us. I'm aware of these things, Dash, but I'm just outraged. And I'm saying it like we made an agreement. We had a deal. You and I, you and everyone else, and me and everyone else.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ayushi. I think this is a good kind of outrage. You should keep this fire burning because it will take a lot of outraged people to collectively come together and maybe we have some change in the far future. Because near future, bolke, I don't know. I don't want to lie. Yeah. Should we take a break
And
on this note, Ayushi?
yeah, let's, because
Yeah?
I clearly need to calm
Yeah,
down.
let's take a small break and come back.
Hey everybody, welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as I'm sure you know by now. I would like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. They've been extraordinary sponsors and we couldn't appreciate them more. It's been a really, really cool week on the network. We've had Ashwin Sanghi on Cyrus Says. We had Masaba Gupta on Advertising is Dead. You should definitely check out Vivek Lath, who showed up on Storytellers and Story Sellers. A close friend and partner of ours, Karthik Parija, was on the Pragati podcast talking about the future of podcasting, which I think is really, really interesting. And I would like to ask people to check out All Things Policy and what they've been doing. They've been having some really interesting discussions about India's challenging relationship with China as we go forward. And I think that would be a great thing for you guys to check out. So with that, let's get you back to your show.
Hello, friends. Welcome back from that break. Ayushi, you here?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, hello, hello.
How are you feeling?
I calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had some water.
Good.
And I had a little bit of a think.
Okay.
And I realized that basically, let's be honest, I just said in the break, I asked Ash, how do you want to end this? I have no interest in ending this on an upbeat or low beat note. Like, I simply am not interested.
Yeah.
And Tash very wisely said that it doesn't matter about upbeat or low beat. We have to talk about solutions. We have to talk about a solution-oriented ending. Which is so true. And I am on board with that.
Yes. Because say.
Yeah, no, you talk.
Mera kuch tha hi nahi, basically. It's just that these problems have been around since time immemorial in different ways, shape, and form. Before the internet came about, women were being burnt at the stake long ago. And I can't imagine that kind of society being much different. But except in that time, it was in real life, people were spitting at you and shouting abuses at you, which still happens in real life too, I'm sure, in many places.
Yes.
But a lot of that filth has moved online. And not just women, of course. Now it's blown open to people, various different communities and minorities that are receiving this kind of trolling, death threats, rape threats. I don't know what there's no one collective, this kind of negative, I don't know what the word
energy
is. This bad vibe online and in the real world. So it's been around forever. I don't think we as a society have ever found a solution for it. In fact, it's just gotten worse and worse. That's why we're at this point today.
But I will say one thing based on what you were saying earlier in terms of like that positive takeaway here is that we are seeing, and maybe this is also a reflection of what we've been saying, like the Black Lives Matter and how certain things are changing legislatively and things like that. I do feel, and this incident with this dude, this HSC fail guy, the issue here is that we can see that sometimes we get lucky and a protest, a voice, a movement does create and engender some amount of change.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing is that now when you get outraged, I think the hope exists that maybe if enough people get mad and enough people let the authorities know and enough people reach out and tell their, whether it's their legislator or their peer group or whether it's their friends or their office workers, whatever it is, to be like, you need to be outraged about this. You need to be mad. You need to be on my level with this because this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
The thing is now more and more in terms of a more self-actualized way, I think a lot of us are saying out loud, this is not okay.
Which
like I'm okay. I'm not okay with this anymore. I'm not okay with taking the high road. I'm not okay with keeping quiet. I'm not okay with just letting this and ignoring the haters and haters gonna hate. No. If haters gonna hate like this, then you are going to be taken and prosecuted with the full extent of the law as you should be.
Yeah.
And I really, really think that the point is now, don't be, and maybe I'm telling myself this, but I'm also wanting to tell the listeners who are, I think, in relatively our age bracket up and down a little bit, is that please don't be embarrassed to be angry about this.
Yeah.
Please don't feel that it's not cool or that it's too like politically inclined. It's too like artsy jhola types to get angry about every Tom, Dick and Harry on the internet. No, when it comes, when this is what is at stake in terms of like rape and death threats and murder and threatening your family and your physical and mental well-being.
Yeah.
Like you and I'm not just talking about you and me, Tash. I'm talking about like you and I as a listener. We are all aware of what is an okay form of criticism and like joshing around, and some people saying and not taking offense to every little thing. But we also know the ones which are like unacceptable and way, 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 way past the line.
Yeah.
So I think something that I would like to tell us and our listeners and you and I as well is that we don't need to be quiet about this. And if you think that it's going to affect your employment status, your social status, your cool status, whatever it is, to be like, oh, I can't be vocal about these things, or I can't keep raising my voice about this stuff. No, because then, and I hate saying this, I hate this is the thing that you have to always bring it down to, is that you have women in your life, right? You have them.
Yeah.
Just imagine if it was them at the other end of this.
Yeah.
You'd be angry then. And I hate always saying this to men. Like, you have a sister, you have a mother, you have a daughter, don't rape. Like, that. But if that's what it takes to get you to understand what is right and what's wrong, then please employ that tactic. And every woman in your life is Sita, Lakshmi, and Parvati, okay? No, why? Why is that? That's right. I don't know. Like, maybe you listen to religion.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'm just trying to communicate that if it's so hard to respect a human being, I have nothing left to appeal to you. But if there is some chance that you think that appealing to it on a religious level, on a spiritual level, is what will stop you from being this human being or being someone who indulges in this kind of activity, then so be it.
Yeah.
But get mad.
Get mad. And also,
that's my takeaway.
I'm with you. Get mad, but don't stop at getting mad, and don't just get mad also.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm talking to people who think that it's like it's not cool to be political, or you don't need to get political about every single thing, or
I think this is
you don't need to
human basic kind of.
Yeah.
Like, we can even leave the politics out of this. I feel like
I think I'm saying political, but what I mean is more like activist. Maybe that's what I should be
thinking. That's what you meant.
People get really mad about activism, or like being like, oh, we don't have to like raise a fucking janda for every single thing.
And you know what? I think fine, maybe you don't have to raise it for every single thing, but you can raise it.
But this
for
stuff, like death threats,
that's a lot.
Threats like this, I think you have to. I think you do.
Yep, that's for sure. For sure.
I have nothing else to say. I can keep going on about this consistently. I will say the same thing. I'm angry and you should do something about it. I'm angry and you should do something about it. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm with you.
We can wrap up here.
No, I'm with you. I just want to say that I'm trying to gather my thoughts here, because I fully understand where you're coming from, and this energy that you feel within you. It's been, the day this happened, I collectively felt that in almost everyone that I interacted with from the entertainment industry that day, because unfortunately, like, comedians and content creators have been at the receiving end of, an artist, even there's so many things now. If we were to sit and even get involved with, it's just such a tough space to navigate. It rattles people, and that is the truth. But what do we do from there? We can't let it affect our mental health. It will, but then it's to know that, okay, this has happened, this is bothering me big time, but this can't be another thing that gets you down, because we can't afford to have more young people giving up or getting down. It's not about that. And this is a very long fight. So you don't want to burn bright and burn out soon. It's a sustained thing. So what I would say is, do it in small doses. If you don't need to go all out, take baby steps in small doses. Again,
as you can tell, Tash is the far kinder, level-headed person in this episode today.
Wow. I mean, because now Ayushi, I just don't know. I feel it's a very long battle. So we need to be ready for it. We need to be prepped, and we need to slowly but surely be moving in the right direction. And I want to just say that this kind of behavior and this kind of vile filth that comes out of these people's mouths, it's not a socio-economic thing or an education thing only. There are
Yeah.
people who are very well
Very
educated, very
educated.
privileged. When they open their mouths and speak about women or queer people or trans people or other communities of other faiths, Ayushi, I have heard some rich ass educated people talking such dirty things also. Dirty things. God, who am I? Who am I? From sounding eloquent to saying dirty things. So I think it's important to have these conversations everywhere. And
I think that's what I was trying to say, when you have them in these like peer groups where we always like, oh, look, I've done it too. Hello, I take full, like, I'm holding myself accountable. There's been many times when I've looked at people's posts and this and that and been like, oh, it's not everyday activism, guys, relax.
Yeah.
But I have to catch myself and stop myself from doing that and being like, this is like a lot of these fights, if people like you and I don't stand up for it, it's just going to get washed away in the noise again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the noise can get really, really loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Engage in enough doses to keep your mental health in check so that you can keep the fire going. It's not about giving up and like suddenly giving so much to a cause, then suddenly you feel like drained because you don't see any results. It's not going to happen overnight. They're not going to automatically change the way they treat us.
But that's why it's important to have those conversations in your peer groups, right?
Absolutely.
And in your work groups and in your family groups, to have that conversation, be like, you know what, this joke, this one was out of line.
Yeah.
This one was not okay.
Like that
or
day, my dad
forward,
sent the most
this is not okay.
forward on WhatsApp. He sent a joke about like the classic stereotype, oh, women are bad drivers. It was that kind of a joke. I did not reply because I was like, I can't be bothered. It was a family group with my aunts and my dadi and all. So literally, he's the only man on the group, firstly, in a group of 6 women. Then I was like, forget this now. I can't right now fight this battle. I'll tell him privately one day. I didn't want to shame him on the group. My sister straight away shamed him. Please don't send such forwards. It's so sexist in capital. Obviously, he has been shamed. Poor thing. That's not the idea. Also, you don't attack people and shame them. You can, if it's like a family member or a friend who you think will understand if you speak to them.
Okay, I'm going to actually give the best way to do this, because this was done to me many years ago and I've held on to it as like a shameful moment for myself. Is that sometimes when you make a joke that has either racist or sexist or bigoted connotations to it, or it has that thing, and we've all made the jokes. We all used to say words that now we don't say them, but we all used to say them. So I'm not like guiltless of this at all. But the best thing, and it was one of my friends, Sarah, actually, and it was at uni, and I made a joke, and it could have been, I'm sure, because she's black, she saw the racism in it, right? And I said something and she was like, why is that funny though? And just asking a person who has made a sexist or bigoted or racist or homophobic joke why that's funny to them immediately makes that person feel so deeply uncomfortable and makes them question, oh wait, why do I think that's funny? And then the minute in a public space or in that conversation, if someone asks you why you find that funny, the answer is only one thing, that, oh, I think racism is a little funny, or I think sexism is a little funny. And no, but that's what I'm saying. Nobody, when you're confronted with that truth, all I felt was so embarrassed. I just felt incredibly embarrassed to have said something that would, because what was I confronted with? When she asked me, why is that funny to you? The only reason I could come up with was, oh, because it's like a thing, right? And it's not. That thing where you think it's a thing, that's racism. That's sexism. That's what it is, okay?
These are the stereotypes which have been built up and now we are just like joking about, and that's not
so joke's a joke. I get it. I mean, we've all watched the comedians and we've all said that it's okay, it's a joke. You don't have to keep apologizing for these things. We've watched it. We've agreed. I've watched Bill Burr and I've agreed that he said when the walls are closing in on comedians, I get it.
Yeah.
I see that. But I think the question is, are you just okay not having that dialogue? Because when you don't, that is when we create room and mentality for these Shubham Mishras. That is when we allow that behavior to be okay. And that is why that man felt confident and safe enough to say something like this on a public platform.
Yeah.
And I don't want to not do anything about that. Like, I do want to work towards a society or a space where you and I can say whatever we want. Like, you know, another reason why somebody DM'd me when I put up that thing and I said this is ridiculous, because they were like, oh, he was found in Baroda. You're tagging all the wrong people. You and Swara don't even do your research. I was like, first of all, Swara and I in the same sentence. Okay, great. Thanks. Compliment. But the other thing was like...
Yeah, like what are you pointing out? Like people are trying to get attention.
No, but my response was like, the Home Minister of Maharashtra, he ordered an inquiry into her.
Yeah.
He didn't punish the dudes, all the people who were saying that she's insulting Chhatrapati Shivaji, which by the way, she wasn't. I watched the clip.
Wait, what did the Maharashtra guy do? Wait, I don't know this.
The Home Minister, our state Home Minister, he said that he has ordered an inquiry and somebody to take strict action against her for saying such a offensive thing towards Shivaji.
Oh God.
So that's why I was tagging them, because I was like, this is your government. And if this is the government, then this is not the elected official, because A, they weren't elected, first place. Let's get that clear. Secondly, like, if your officials and your politicians and politics allows this mentality and allows this to be fanned, we are, again, that's what I'm saying. We're creating that space for someone like him to exist and thrive and feel safe. Like, the irony is he thinks this is the safe space for him. So, yes, we need to have these conversations. And if it makes you uncomfortable, it makes you uncomfortable.
That's fine. You don't deal with it
That's
for some time. Take a break. Get yourself back together. Again, try to deal with it. Again, come back and take a breath. ये चलता रहेगा, ये सिलसिला जारी रहेगा, guys. लंबी जंग है. Okay? Yeah.
And anyway, we can wrap up. But I'll say it again. We have an agreement. We signed a contract. And you don't get to behave like this towards another human being.
Yep.
You just don't.
Yep.
And if you can't abide by that, then please, by all means, go live under a rock, far away.
Yep.
Okay, I go now. It's my turn to do dinner.
Okay, then. Same. I'm going to go and cook. What are you cooking today?
I'm making the momos that I ordered from.
Oh my God, yes. They're so delicious. I can't wait for you to try the spicy chicken momos. This is not an ad, but buy the Prasuma momos.
Yeah, because you said it, so I ordered them, and now I'm going to make them, and I'm going to whip up some lundals on the side.
Good. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll catch you next week. Sorry for the delay in this week's episode. We just...
Okay then. Farewell, friends. Stay safe, stay stealthy and healthy.
Okay, wow. All right, bye.
Look! Up in the internet! It's a meme! No! It's a cat video! No! It's the Geek Fruit Podcast!
That's right, we interrupt this riveting broadcast to tell you about our show, the Geek Fruit Podcast, where Tejas, Dinkar and I, Jishnu, talk about everything in pop culture, including DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Netflix, and everything in between.
You know how your friends hate it when you ramble about some nerdy crap and you just want somebody to listen to you? Well, sorry, there's nothing we can do about that, but come listen to us ramble and it'll almost be like the real thing. Kind of.
Listen to new episodes of the Geek Fruit Podcast every Monday and the Geek Fruit Bulletin every Thursday on iTunes, Google Podcasts, the IVM app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Happy listening, you nerds.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.